Welcome to Star Joes. I'm your host Ryan, and today I'm going to be covering G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue number 251. This is actually the start of the special missions episodes, and what I'm going to do is, I know this issue came out a while back, but I actually want to cover all the special missions issues. The latest one just came out this past week with issue 255. And I want to cover these because, number one, I haven't covered G.I. Joe really as a property here, and the show's called Star Joes, so yeah, G.I. Joe is a big key of that. I was also very interested in these issues because they were individually told stories about individual characters from G.I. Joe or Cobra. And this very first issue, we start off with Stalker, which was one of the first 13 figures that ever came out from G.I. Joe. Now, this is written by Larry Hama, of course. Larry Hama really is the founding father of G.I. Joe when it comes to creating the characters, creating the stories behind them and everything. The figures were created, but he actually gave us the background for all of them. The art is by Alex Sanchez, and the art's good. For my personal taste, it does lean more towards like a Howard Chaykin style artwork, which isn't necessarily my favorite. I do love early Howard Chaykin art, such as when he was working on Marvel, Star Wars back in the day. But modern day Howard Chaykin art isn't exactly my favorite thing, and this kind of mimics or is inspired by that type of artwork. I don't know if necessarily Alex Sanchez is directly inspired by Howard Chaykin's artwork, but it definitely seems that way. So the art, while it's good, and if you like Howard Chaykin art, you're going to love this, but for me, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Now, the story itself I thought was very interesting. I don't want to spoil anything, but it really deals with Stalker at the very beginning dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He is still active, but he's having nightmares. He's having issues, and he turns to different characters such as Spirit and everything to talk to about those types of things. And that was the part of the story I found really interesting and really compelling. It really felt like it was a character moment, really developed the character. Then later in the issue, it just takes a sudden turn, and it reminds me very much of the movie Full Metal Jacket, where you almost felt like you were getting two stories at the same time. If you remember in the movie Full Metal Jacket, you get the basic training story, and then you got the Vietnam story. And while it's an awesome movie, it does feel like two separate, disjointed movies. That's how this issue felt. Like the common denominator was Stalker in it, but at the beginning we're dealing with his PTSD and really how he's learning to cope with that. How does he not let his brothers down? And then later on in the story, he's on a mission. And at no point in that mission does he really deal with the PTSD. Like, you really want this to be something that's still affecting him, that he's still working through and everything else. And there's a moment where he gets knocked around a little bit, but there's no moment in that you feel like, oh, he's about to slip or he's about to lose it. He really just kind of pulls himself together and continues the mission and accomplishes it. So I don't know, that kind of took me out of it for a bit because I was really enjoying dealing with a character, dealing with a real issue, a real world life issue, but wasn't seeing that really affecting him in his performance later on in the issue. Overall, I really did like this issue. I thought it was a good, solid issue. It was enjoyable. I just wish it hadn't been so disjointed. I wish that it wasn't I wish that the whole issue with Stalker dealing with PTSD kind of carried through the story, and maybe he found some way to deal with it or something like that. And even if he didn't, that's okay, because it's an issue that a lot of soldiers deal with that isn't just easily resolved. So I kind of would have liked to have seen that occur for him as well. It's just, this is going to be something that he constantly has to work through. I love the character Stalker, so I was really happy that they kicked it off with this character. I am going to cover other issues. I'm going to cover all 5 issues that they've done, and I'll have some other things to talk about in between, other issues to talk about, other topics related to this YouTube channel to talk about in between. But I am going to cover every single issue. So I love the concept. I hope that IDW comes back with even more of these special missions issues where it's just one individual story. One of the things I would really like to see them do also, as much as I love Larry Hama and I love his writing and what he's done for G.I. Joe, every single one of these issues, they picked a different artist to tell the story. And I would almost love to see a different creative team for each issue. So if they come back and do special missions, I would like to see a new writer and new artist for every single issue for several of them. My fear is that they do that, though, that Larry Hama might not want to continue writing G.I. Joe because they took him off the title for a few issues. So I'm not really sure how that'll play out. I hope that Larry Hama would be willing to let some other people step in and play in his sandbox that he created and then come back to the stories and everything else. But we'll see. Have you read the special issues stories, and what did you think? What was your favorite one out of that? Please put it in the comments below. When it comes to this particular issue, like I said, I did enjoy it, but it was kind of middle of the road for me. So because of that, I am going to give it a rating of Heroes in a Half Shell. I really love G.I. Joe. I'm looking forward to covering more of it with you. I will be back with some other issues that, related to 80s properties. I am back. I am redoing more videos. I'm happy that I'm returning. Hope you are too. If you like what you see, please click that like button. And if you want to see more of these videos, please click that subscribe button. It really means the world to me. And with that, we'll go ahead and close by saying the Force will be with you, because knowing us is half the battle. Take care, guys.